does it make sense to buy 1950s or 1938 built apartment even if it's renovated? Yes. My opinion is yes. Most buildings were built between the 50s and 60s, right? In Germany, that was quite pretty quick after the war. So you're gonna find a lots of 50s and 60s buildings in Germany. And why not? To be honest, I wouldn't say they're a lot better than the newly built, but to be honest, the materials also like the the structure body and the build body is sometimes better. Okay, we have in Germany these old buildings like Altbau, which are pretty famous. People like even here in Munich, people like fighting to live in one of these in Munich
High
City.
ceilings and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's beautiful, and I believe also these 50, 60s gonna go in that way one day as well. But you just have to be really sure about this. In what condition is that property, right? So again, as I mentioned in the videos with Axel, check the protocols, check the savings, right? This is very important. It's great that it's renovated. We also have properties in that age and they're renovated because you kind of ahead on the, because we're having that energy dilemma right now, but you kind of ahead of the renovation, what is going to happen, right? Except the heating system and stuff like that. But yeah, check everything out. And I think if it's renovated, it's great. So in that way, if it's renovated, you can even charge a little bit more on rent.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the point. So building year is, of course, one factor. Location is the other factor, which we could make a whole live stream about it. And what was renovated, I think, is the question. And what I learned over the last years is that this goes pretty deep. The most extreme example that I know of is where they renovated the windows, so they put in these new 3-time glass windows or whatever into an old building, and then half a year later the entire property started molding because with these old windows the building could still breathe, which was necessary, and with these new windows it doesn't. And so mostly the real expensive stuff is roof. That's super expensive. So if the roof is from 1938, pre-war actually,
keep attention or pay attention.
Definitely check the WEG protocols, the WEG protocols, because in these protocols, the owners is basically the protocols of the owners association where they come together and then they vote. It's very democratic usually. They vote what shall be done in terms of renovation in the next couple of years, and sometimes they vote, next year we will refurbish the roof, which costs 1.5 million for the entire property. Meaning, and that's what you mentioned with the savings, every single party, every single owner has to pay 25k, for example. Then the year afterwards, we do the underground parking, which costs another million. So every owner has to put in another 20. And usually they plan this for at least 3 years, or that's kind of the average, I think. And then you can see in these owner protocols that, oh, maybe I'll buy this property now, but in the next 3 years, I have to pay 55k in renovation. And then, of course, that's a good reason for you to renegotiate the price, like Charlie maybe did, right? When he got a 70k discount. So definitely check this and see exactly what was renovated, because roof, heating system, especially now, heating system, underground parking, facade, those are usually the extreme balconies are also. So don't focus on white walls. Nobody cares about if the walls are white or not, but those are the really expensive things.
And this is what you mentioned. If it's renovated, also make sure what type of renovation. I always talk about 2 types of renovation. One is the simple one, painting walls, doing a quick new floor. Okay, so these are quite simple ones, but the deeper ones are really kind of putting out walls, checking the cables behind, what has been done on the washroom, bathroom, right? These are kind of all factors you really have to keep attention and pay attention, because otherwise you're going to end up paying way more, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, to your question, Sharma, I think 50s, 60s, even 38s, I mean, they're great. It depends on the property, because you don't want to end up paying way more than you paid. And yeah, I think that's important. Have appraisal in this case as well.
Yeah,
Have an appraisal there.
definitely.
Or if it comes from a company, just ask about the appraisal report.